Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am Sam. This is By Hook or By Needles, and this is lesson 1. Okay, so we've got our yarn and we've got our hook. I'm using a DK yarn, which is also known as an 8-ply yarn, which is also known as a 3-weight yarn. I'm using a 4mm hook, which is also known as a G hook. You can use any type of hook that you feel comfortable holding, any type of hook you can afford, any type of hook you have. Maybe you know someone who's giving you some hooks. Maybe you have a grandmother who has passed and has left a load of hooks behind, and you can grab one of those. Whatever you have, that's what we're going to be using. There's no rules as to what hook you'll use, except for using the right size for the yarn. Okay, so first thing we need to do is know how to hold our yarn and a hook. There are lots of opinions on this. I'll give you mine. I don't care. I mean, I do care that you actually learn and you can hold your yarn and you can hold your hook, but how you do it, I don't care. I don't mind what way you do it, as long as it's comfortable for you, doesn't cause you pain, enables you to produce the stitches you need to produce, and produce the stitches to a standard that you are happy with. I don't have to be happy with what you've produced. Nobody else has to be happy with what you've produced, unless you're gifting something. Then you probably want the person you're gifting it to be happy with what you've produced. But you get my drift. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you are comfortable in having fun, enjoying it. That's a big must. You must enjoy what you're doing. And warning, it will ache-ish a little, probably, initially, because you will be using muscles in your hand that you're probably not really used to using. So don't think, oh, I can't do it, I'm doing it wrong, or I must be doing it wrong because I'm really in a lot of pain. Now, this is where we're all subjective, and we have different scales of pain from 1 to 10. I would say if you are in the top range of your pain level, yeah, you're probably you're doing something wrong. I won't say you're not doing it right. You're doing something, you're doing something wrong. Like you're holding your hook too tight, or you're coming in at funny angles, or you're pulling on your yarn too tight, or there's usually a reason. To have a little bit of discomfort, like I say, because you're learning and you're using new muscles. It's like if you go for a walk today and you've never walked, or you have walked, but you've never gone for a 10-minute walk before. The next day, or even the same day, you're going to be a bit achy. That sort of level of achiness is probably going to be okay. If you have, if you're learning and you have arthritis in your hands, or you have carpal tunnel, or you have RSI, or even tennis elbow, or frozen shoulder, or something like that, you might want to consult your doctor before embarking on this journey. And I only say that as a precaution for your own sake. It's your life. You decide whether you want to do that or not. I recommend it as just a precautionary thing, because the pain it might cause you, even though it might be mild to you, it might be doing damage if you've got one of those conditions. So it's always a good idea to check. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I've had it for 36 7 years. I was diagnosed when I was 20. Hence, I use what they call an ergonomic hook. This is a hook that is not metal all the way down, so it's not a super thin hook. It's got a handle to it, the handle just with a thumb rest, and that just makes holding it a little bit more comfortable. So if you have any of the conditions I've just mentioned, you know, maybe you need to buy a hook like that, preferably to using maybe a straight aluminium hook or straight steel. But once again, whatever you can afford to start off with, yeah? You know, you don't want to break the bank and then decide you hate this stuff, hate crochet. So I will show you how I get my tension and how I hold my hook, and then we will look at alternative ways people hold their hook. Okay, so I basically go from, this is my tail end, okay, it's through my pinky and ring finger, up between my index and middle finger. I then turn my hand over, so the yarn is coming over my, what do I call it, index? That's not index, is it? My pointing finger, point at things. Then I usually hold my yarn or my work between the thumb and the middle finger. I hold my hook as a knife hold. I am what they call a knife holder. We discussed this briefly at the end of part one, or whatever you want to call that video. So you can hold knife hold, or you can hold it pencil hold. Pencil holders will tell you pencil hold is the best. Knife holders will tell you knife hold is the best. You decide. It's your hand. It's your crochet hook. Ultimately, it's your craft. It's your enjoyment. It's your relaxation, or whatever you're using it for. You do as you wish. Don't let anyone try to tell you you're doing it wrong, unless, of course, you've really hurt yourself by doing something that, I don't know. I don't know how you could really hurt yourself, but, if you did something really, really wrong, you could end up hurting yourself. Who knows? But, yeah. So, I'm a knife holder, and that's how I hold my yarn when I'm crocheting, okay? But that's not the only way to hold yarn. Some people will hold it similar to this. Some might add an extra finger loop and still come over the top of the finger. Some may, actually what they do is wind the yarn onto their finger and then just release a section, like as a, I think I've probably gone around the wrong way for that, hang on. They might go that way, yeah, I think they probably go that way, that's the easier way. So they might wind their yarn like that and then release a section as they're crocheting. And as their crochet gets up to here, they'll release another section and another section. Some people do it like that. I've never done it, tried it like that. But that's how some people might hold it. Up to you. You want to hold it that way to try it out? By all means, try it out. Obviously, I'm right-handed, so this is all right-handed. I apologize. There are some brilliant left-handed teachers out there. I would search specifically for left-handed crocheter if you are left-handed. And hopefully, I could reverse the videos and do that, but I have heard from left-handers that the flipping of a video does not necessarily completely flip or reverse the whole technique, and so it doesn't become a very reliable way to teach a left-hander. So there is that. Anyway, so that's another way you can, just wind your yarn on. how else can you hold yarn? I haven't really seen a large number of yarn holders do this, but some might hold it through the hand and just sort of wrap it around their finger, and the hand is sort of holding through their fingers, and it's you know, creating tension that way. You know, it really depends. And of course, the amount of tension you need to put on it is going to depend on how loose or tight your stitches are. You do not really want super tight stitches. You want to be able to get back into your stitches, so they do not need to be super tight. And this is the knife hold, where you put your thumb on the thumb rest, and you just curl your fingers around and you hold it like a knife hold. This doesn't poke out for me. Some hooks are a bit longer and they might come out. Some people find that more comfortable. Some people find it less comfortable. Some people prefer to be able to have, I've got largest hands for a woman. So some people might prefer to engulf this, you know, crochet hook in the hand. Some might look longer. Some might want even shorter. You're not going to get, I think this is pretty average. Let's have a look and see what this length is. And I think you'll find this is probably fairly average for this type of hook. It is 14 centimeters, which is 5.5 inches. So I think you'll find that's probably the average. You're going to get longer and you're going to get shorter. In the same token, you're going to get hooks which are longer here. Some will be really long down to here. Some might be shorter. Again, that might all influence how you crochet. With these, because they've got a thumb hold there, or thumb grip there, it pretty much determines that how far away you're going to be from your actual crochet point. Some people like to be closer, and they can still use thumb grip hooks, but they just move their thumb up and their fingers up a little bit, and then it sticks out a little bit and they crochet a little bit closer. Some people might like to be longer. Once again, you will find your comfort zone, and the way you will know whether you are doing it right or wrong is not just discomfort level, but how your crochet is looking and how you feel it's looking and going. So, pencil hold. I'm going to grab my pen, just like it were a pencil and I was about to write. In the same way, a pencil holder can be close or can be far away. Some pencil holders I've seen like to have their thumb down here, their middle finger down here to grip the yarn overs so that they don't fall off when they're crocheting. Some just stick with the actual full-on pencil grip. Again, try all these until you find one that you find is comfortable. If you are a knitter, I have heard this time and time again, and personally I don't agree with it. If you are a knitter, in particular, they say a continental knitter, they say that because you're holding your yarn already in your right hand, you're more adept to being a pencil holder. I learnt to knit at the same time as crocheting. I hold my yarn in my left hand and I hold it like that, but I'm a knife holder. So it doesn't always fit for everybody. Once again, what are you comfortable with? What gives you the results that you are happy with? Go with that. So, knife grip, pencil hold. I'm going to put our crochet hook down. We don't need our crochet hook really for this bit. I'm going to show you, I think, 3 ways to do a slip knot. All crochet starts with a slip knot, and hopefully that wind I've got my fan on. I hope I don't have to turn it off to do this. I might have to, because it might blow. I'm going to have to, because it's going to blow my stitches away. Hang on. Okay. And my TV comes on. Why does my TV come on every time I use my remote for my fan? I do not know. Obviously the same frequency, but yeah, it's frustrating. Okay, so we've got our piece of yarn. This is the tail end. This is our working end, which is attached to our ball. Tail end, working end. One easy way. You grip your yarn, you twist it, just like that. So you've come up, and this bit goes under. Now, you want this thread to go through that hole and come out the other end as a loop. Imagine you're tying shoelaces or whatever. So 2 ways you can sort of do this. You can either pick this up, fold it over like that, pick up that loop, put your finger in the hole, and voila, you've made a slip knot. And I probably did that offline, off camera, so I'll try it again. And I might need to back off just a bit so I can get it all. So you've got your yarn, pick up, twist it, so it goes around and under. You can grab this, pull that over there like that. This is your working yarn. This is going to be a new loop. So you're going to pull this up. You're going to put your finger in that loop. You're going to pull on this yarn, not too tightly, because you want it to be able to be slip. And there's your slip knot. And then you put that on your hook, and you can start crocheting. That is your slip knot. I won't keep doing that, because you can just rewind and replay that section over and over until you get that. I'm sorry, my voice is going to start to crack up now because I've had to turn the fan on and the air isn't great, so my voice will probably be affected, but we will persist. Okay, so that was, to me, that's like a really visual sort of way of showing. It's almost like showing someone how to tie shoelaces, you know, without the shoe. That's what I've basically done there. Anyway, so the next way is another easy way, and I quite enjoy this way, but I've never done this way, but I've seen it lots of times, and it really, really is a very easy way to do it, I think, even though I've never used it. So you're going to hold your yarn down here between your thumb and your middle finger, and you're going to, coming from the front, you're going to wrap your yarn 1 and 2, like a little spiral. Then bring this yarn back down in here and hold it there. Now you lower your finger a little bit so you can grip the yarn. You don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight. And you take this yarn and you bring it over the front. Okay, so you bring it over that first thread, holding it back if you need to, then pick up the second thread and bring it all the way over off the end of the finger, and once again you've got a lovely little slip knot, which will and should adjust in size as you pull it open and close. Okay, that's what you need. Once again, I'm not going to keep repeating that. Just rewind a few seconds and watch it again and again until you get it. My way of doing it will require a crochet hook. It's the same sort of thing almost, but you're going to wrap around 2 fingers in my case. So I'm holding it this time. I'm holding it here to keep it secure. And actually, how do I see? It's funny, isn't it, when you go to show someone how you do something, you completely forget how you hold the yarn and how you do it. So I'm just going to close my eyes and get, okay, so that's how I do it. I hold the yarn in the lower hand with those fingers, and I come over, so I've got those fingers just holding it into place, and I'm going to go over twice, but I'm not going to go over in the same way we went around our finger. In the finger, when we did our finger, we went 1, 2, and it was like a spiral. Yeah, if you kept going, it would be a spiral. We're not going to do it in a spiral formation. Instead, what I do is I go yarn over, and in fact, I sort of put it on a little bit of an angle. When I come back this way, hang on, how do I do it? How do I do it? Oh, that's right, I do. I hold it like that, and I go yarn over, and I come back, and I go way over here to make a cross on the back. Bring it back in here with ring finger and thumb, and then I go under the first, grab the second, and I pull that up and through, and you can see the slip knot form. That one I will repeat because I sort of really stuffed up the beginning a bit, didn't I? So I hold my yarn between my thumb and my ring finger. I go around. When I come back, I cross over the stitch and I bring that back. So there's a cross at the back and 2 lines at the front. I go under the first strand, grab the second strand, and I'm only turning, I don't normally turn like this, I normally just pull it out and do it. I'm just showing you what it looks like from this end, from this angle. I'm going to pull it up, and as I'm pulling it up, I take my fingers out, and that's the slip knot. Okay, so you can just, now you can rewind and replay that bit to see how you go. That's 3 ways to do a slip knot. I'm hoping, just a minute, I do need a drink, hang on, sorry. Okay, that might help for a little bit. Okay, so it's 3 ways of doing a slip knot or slip stitch, whichever you wish to call it. The idea is it should slip. You should be able to loosen and tighten it. So I'm just going to start myself. And that's my slip knot. I've got a very long tail here. I don't need a tail this long. You probably need about that length, which I believe is like 4 or 5 inches. Most people say probably as long as your hook or your hook handle. That's just for weaving in your ends later. But you probably don't need it that long, but it doesn't matter. Now, we're going to do the next step in our crochet journey, and that is chaining. If you're a knitter, you will know all knitting begins with a cast on. Thus, all crochet begins with a chain. So how do we make a chain? A chain is like making lots of little slip knots or slip stitches, if you like, one on top of each other. And I'll show you. So I'm going to tension like this because that's the normal way I tension. I'm going to hold my yarn just below my slip stitch. My hook should be able to glide. If your hook is, like, ooh, really tight, you've got it too tight, release your grip and just pull up on your slip knot it a little bit so that the hook slides back and forth with ease. But you're in the same token, you don't want it so it's like too big like this. So it's a happy medium. You got to find a happy medium. Now I'm going to show you my non-preferred way first, which is pencil hold. A lot of pencil holders will probably look at me and say, Sam, you've got pencil hold all wrong. And if I do, I apologize for that. I've never pencil held. So this is just the way I'm going to do pencil hold. Once again, be it right or be it wrong. It's the way I can do pencil hold comfortably, and I'm happy with the results, so it's the way I'm going to do it. So please don't write to me and tell me I'm doing it wrong, because it's the way I do it, and it works for me. With pencil hold, I turn my hook a lot. I've seen pencil holders who grab the yarn this way and try and pull through the stitch with the yarn in front, like that. I'll do that again. I've seen, let's see, and I can't do that. You know, I cannot do that. Hang on, let me get my hook back in. And this is why I say it's you're making slip stitches, because each one will slip. Each one is like a new knot that will slip. And you've got to keep each one so that it's the same sort of tension as the last one. And while you're beginning and doing one at a time, I would move my fingers up, my thumb and middle finger up, to grab the previous stitch, so we don't pull on that accidentally and make it too big or tighten it. Okay, so, whoops, pencil grip. The way I do the pencil grip is I turn my hook so it's facing the strand. I pick up my strand, I twist it, and I pull it through. I'm going to show you again. Hook's facing to the back, pick up the strand and pull it through. Now I'll come in a little bit closer. So I'm doing pencil hold. I pick up the yarn at the back, twist it, and come through. Move up. See how there's enough of a gap underneath to make it slip, but not too much of a gap so that it's too big. So once again, pick up the yarn at the, oops, sorry, try that again. Pick up the yarn at the back, twist it round, and come through. You can't really see my hand when I do that, so I will go back to the wider view. But I just wanted you to be able to see the head of the hook and see what I'm doing with the head of the hook. So I'm picking up the yarn through the back of the hook is facing backwards. I'm picking up the yarn. As I do, I'm twisting. See how I'm rolling the hook in my hand to bring the whoops, it slipped off that time. I'll try it again. So grabbing the yarn, I'm rolling the hook, so the hook is now facing down to slip it through that gap. Okay, this is pencil hold. So hook is facing backwards, I come forward, I roll it down so it can go through the hook, the loop, the previous loop. And before you know it, you are chaining. Once again, I'm not going to keep repeating this, but I will do quite a few here, so you can watch all of this on reverse rather than watch one stitch only on reverse, but you can watch the whole load of these on reverse. Okay, now let's look at our results, and we'll discuss those for a few seconds. This is what you are wanting to achieve. They will never be really perfect unless you are very pedantic. But you can see all of these are like little V's, and all the V's are relatively the same height, the same width, and they're all facing in the same direction. This is the end result that you should be aiming for. If you've got anything different, as long as it's still workable and that you can still actually work into it, maybe don't worry too much. But if you find you go to the next stage, which will be the next video, and you are unable to do the next thing we're going to learn, which is going to be the single crochets, or what they call a double crochet in the UK, you might need to come back and revisit this and see if your chain looks like this. On the rear side, it is totally different, and you have all these little bumps. And these are called back bumps when they're on a chain. And in fact, if you look at it side on, you can see all the little back bumps, and they are the bumps we're going to work into when we crochet. So the front is just loads of V's and it's flat, and the back is bumpy with lots of little loops, and they're perfect loops for us to work into with our hook. But you will find, when I discuss it in the next lesson, that sometimes you don't have to do it that way. If it's hard for you to do it that way, you can just go into the chain. But we'll discuss that more in the next one. So this is our chain, but I did this pencil hold. And you'll find with pencil hold, there's very little hand movement. Like, you know, there's not a lot of wrist movement. I noticed anyway. So let's just unravel all that and see how loosely and easily that unpicks. That's what you want. You don't want it so tight that when you pull on the end, it can't loosen. And you can see how, easy it was for the hook to move and all that sort of thing. Okay, knife grip. You put your thumb first and your fingers around. You're holding it like a knife. Once again, you can be forward, you can be back. Your thumb grip, your knife hold can be like this. Your knife hold can be like this. It doesn't matter, or anything in between. What's comfortable for you, once again. So this is how I do a chain for a knife hold. I come up. I'll just bring that a little bit closer. I come up. So I'm not turning my hook like I would with a pencil grip. I come up, and then I twist down and under and up again, and that produces my first chain. And then you can move up. Remember, you need a little bit of give. You need to be able to move your hook. You don't want to have this too tight, because if you hold this too tight, then this is going to be too tight. You just need to relax. This is not going to run away, okay? Your hook and your yarn are not going to run away. So you don't need a death grip hold on any of your tools. And I think I'm safe in saying ever. So if your hand is getting sore because you're gripping too tight, that is a no-no. That is probably the wrong way to do things. And that's probably the only instance you'll hear me say you've done it wrong, is if you're sort of gripping too hard and you're causing discomfort or cramps in your hand. Okay? So, knife hold, I twist it so it's on that angle. So I'm sort of bringing this finger forward at the same time, which is probably why I'm not needing to twist it all the way back, which I didn't do with the the pencil grip. So yeah, so maybe with the pencil grip, if you want to do the pencil grip, you might decide by moving the yarn forward rather than going back like that. If you move the yarn forward, you know, there's less movement. I don't know. It's up to you. Play around. So, sorry, back to the knife grip, because we're getting close to a really long time again. But I think all these details are important, especially for someone who's never picked up a hook. And remember, this is who these lessons are aimed at. So, you can see the angle of the hook is just sort of pointing up this way, not back here. So grab our yarn. As we pull down, we are slowly twisting so it goes under and up. And this is how I do my chain as a knife holder. Now, you might ask, why do we come down like this? That's because if we kept our hook up here, we're not going to be able to pull through that loop. So that's going to be a problem. And that is why we turn our hook and we come down. And that one's probably made a little bit too small, if anything. But we'll leave it go and see what happens. So you can move or even just move your wrist forward a little bit. But you will see that my whole hand tends to move. And sometimes I even kick out my elbow when I'm doing this. My hand lifts up and I, kick out my elbow. But not dramatically. I'm over-exaggerating now to show you the motion. But there is a bit more motion in the wristed hand when you do a knife grip, I think. So, like that. And I'm hoping you are understanding and seeing what I'm doing. Once again, if you are in any doubt, and I'll back out a little bit more again. If you have any questions or any doubts, ask in the comments below, and I will redo a portion of the video just for you, or answer your question, or whatever is needed. Once again, just take this, rewind, and replay. You will see again, put our hook down. The V's are very standard. They are all the same height and the same width. And in fact, I've probably got a bit more better consistency this way, but just because I'm not used to the pencil grip. And I'm a knife holder, and that's why if it looks any better to you, that would be why. So, and then we've got this is a flat edge. So if we turn it, we will have our bumps in the back. And now what we're going to work into, that's what our back looks like. That's what the back looks like side on. And that's the V's. Hopefully your work looks something like this. Now, I could be torturous and say, okay, next lesson is in a month's time or a week's time. But I don't think, well, maybe you might need a week to get the chains right. And that's okay if you do. You might decide you're going to try holding your yarn every way and holding your hook every way with every way you can hold your yarn and all the rest of it. Perfectly okay. Do what you need to do to be comfortable and happy that you've got the best choice for you. But I will be back with another lesson tomorrow. No, hang on. I tell a lie. It won't be tomorrow. It'll be in about 4 or 5 days. That's right. Sorry, I'm forgetting my schedule. Because yesterday was the first one, then this one. Yep, it'll be a few days, about 3 or 4, I think. And I will show you how to do single crochet. And what we will also do at the same time is we will revisit slip knots. We will revisit doing our chain, obviously, because we need a chain to chain into. And I'm going to do a chain about this long. And that will be that's a good width for 2 things. It's a good width for a washcloth or dishcloth. It's also a good width for a scarf. So you can make 1 or 2 things. Whilst we are learning, you can do, a stitch. You can do a washcloth that's all single crochet or double crochet in the UK. Or you can just do 3 or 4 rows of a single crochet and tell yourself, well, I've got that, I want the next stitch. And when I give you the next stitch, you can add it to that. So, and you can just keep adding all the stitches till you end up with a really long piece of work, which is long enough for a scarf. Or, like I say, you can do half the washcloth in single crochet and then half the washcloth in the next stitch up, and then you can just cast it off and sew in the ends, and I'll show you how to do that as we go. And in that way you can either make a load of dishcloths, which you can't really make with acrylic, but you can make with cotton, but it, you can make a nice little placemat or something, just something that nothing hot is going to be sitting on if you're using acrylic. I wouldn't go straight to cotton. Cotton can be tricky to use, so stick with your acrylic. But yeah, so we're going to make it about this long chain. So if you want to get ready, if you've nailed it, you've nailed how you're going to hold your hook, you've nailed how you're going to, tension your yarn in your hand and how you're going to hold it, and you're ready, do a chain about that long, or about as wide as a scarf is, or any scarf that you would want to wear. And then we'll start off with our single crochets in the next lesson. So until then, just practice, find the way that's most comfortable with you, and like I say, in 3 or 4 days, 4 or 5 days, I can't remember my schedule, I'm sorry, you will see another lesson number 2. And yeah, until then, take care, practice, make sure your hands get plenty of rest if they start to ache a little bit, because you're using muscles that you're not used to. If they're aching any more than muscles that would ache if you took a walk for 10 minutes after never taking walks, if your leg muscles might ache. If your hands are aching any more than that, it's not going to hurt to consult a doctor. It could be the way you're holding your yarn, it could be you're tensioning your yarn, or it could be if you do have RSI, or if you have carpal tunnel, or if you have arthritis of some form, it could be that playing up, and you might need to just rest more, or you might need to take a painkiller, a low-grade painkiller, or whatever. Speak to your doctor and they will help you determine, what you should do. Till then, please take care, please practice, please have fun, and try and enjoy it. It's not torture. I promise. Okay, bye for now.